Alrighty, welcome back, boys and girls. It's your main math man, Mr. Shank, coming to you live from Mayfield. And in this video, we're going to be working with some wonderful relations, and we're going to be talking about some functions as well. But we want to make sure we know where we're at on that coordinate plane. So that's what we're going to review first. So when we're talking about that coordinate plane, again, that's the ordered pairs, different x and y values that you have. Again, there's a picture to kind of use as a reference. And so make sure you're seeing, again, that x axis is going to be our horizontal axis. That's the one that is going from left to right. And then for our y-axis, again, that is going to be our vertical axis. That is the one that is going up and down. So again, that's the one right in the middle. So again, make sure you're also seeing that point in the middle. That point 0, 0 is that origin. And when you're thinking of an ordered pair, what is that? Again, that's the inputs and outputs, meaning your x values and your y values. So I want to make sure it's like a pair of socks. You need to have an x value and you need to have a y value with it. So now some new items that we want to talk about. We want to see, well, when we're talking about relations, what are we thinking of? Well, we define relations as any set of inputs, which are x values, and our outputs, which are y values. However, they may contain repeated x values. And you're probably wondering, what do you mean by that? Well, when we are talking about these relations, there's going to be several different forms. One of those forms could be a set of ordered pairs. And when you're thinking about that, again, those are those brackets, those little curly brackets with the parentheses to list the ordered pairs. And I want to tell you that you should think of a sock drawer when doing this. So for example, when you have those brackets, again, it kind of has those pairs inside of it. So for example, you have your x value, you have your y value, those are paired together, and so those are those parentheses paired together, and they would go in the wonderful sock drawer like so. Those are the brackets, but you probably don't even do your own laundry, so who cares? Moving on, again, you want to make sure you're seeing, for example, if these are some ordered pairs, you notice, hey, when I'm looking at those ordered pairs, I would say that, well, I know that there's 2 points that are repeated x values. So again, this is going to be our key point. Those repeated x values means it is a relation. Another form that you could have is a graph. And so what you want to do is, when you have this graph, you want to mainly be looking for this. So we're going to mainly call it that vertical line test, or that VLT. And so if you draw a straight line, a straight vertical line, through more than one point on the graph, then it is only a relation. So for example, when you're looking at those ordered pairs that we had before, you'd notice, hey, when I would be drawing a vertical line right here, I would notice that it would be passing through more than one point, meaning it is only a relation. Another form that you can have is a table. Again, those can be lists of inputs and outputs as rows and columns. They could be displayed vertically, like so, or they could be displayed horizontally, like this. Again, those are the same ordered pairs that we had before, but you want to make sure you're look for those repeated x values. And so you're looking, you're saying that, heck, these are ordered pairs, so that'd be that 0.35. However, you want to make sure you're looking for those repeated x values. And I notice, hey, I have a 3 and a 3, and I have a 3 and a 3. Again, those are repeated x values. That means it is a relation. So that's another form of relations that you have. Again, the key idea from this main takeaway, you want to say that the relations can have repeated x values. As long as you're remembering that, you are good. So now, what about the other form, or the other way to do this? Well, you could say functions we would define as a set of x values, and you gotta pair them up with those y values too. However, where the the x values cannot repeat. So that means that functions are a subset of relations. So again, you would say, all right, functions are, what do we say for those again? They're a set of ordered pairs. However, those x values cannot repeat. So that means that functions are relations, but relations are not always functions. And so what does that function look like? Well, going back to how we had before, again, those set of ordered pairs, we would say that we have something like this. You would have a set or an example like this would be a set of ordered pairs. Again, those brackets contain multiple points, so that you would have 4 pairs of ordered pairs, so that's going to be 4 points on your graph. So again, if those are your points, 0, 1, again, broken apart with a comma, and then another pair of values, x and y, so it'd be 1, 2, so on and so forth. And so you would notice when I'm looking at those values, I would say that each x value has only one y value. So that means that, you know, I'm not going to have any repeated x values. And so when you're looking on the graph, we're still going to be using that vertical line test. However, we can word it a little bit differently. We're now saying, well, if you have that relation, again, we want to check to see, is it also a function? We should be able to draw a straight vertical line anywhere on the graph, and it should only pass through one point. And so now when we plotted those points out, we notice, well, yeah, when we have those ordered pairs plotted on the coordinate plane, if we drew a vertical line, it would not go through more than one point. It only passes through one point, again, that vertical line test. Another form, just like before, that we could have, again, it's a list of inputs and outputs, still displayed like normal. However, this time you're noticing that there is no repeated x values. So when you're looking at those x values, you're saying, well, is there anything that is repeated? You'd say no. And then if it's displayed horizontally, it's still the same values, however, they are not repeated. Again, that key idea is this. As long as we know functions are relations that do not have any repeated x values, we are good. So again, it's super simple. Always look for those repeated x values. If it has repeated x values, it's only a relation. If it does not have any repeated x values, it is a function. One last key idea that you want to say is, well, what happens when I have repeated y values? Well, let's go back to that graph. We would know that, well, because of that vertical line test, if I had other repeated y values, meaning what if we had a straight horizontal line? Well, that would be okay because it would still pass our vertical line test. It would not have any points. It would only pass through one point vertically. So again, make sure that you are always thinking of that. And be sure to super slam that subscribe button.